Welcome Twitch chat and YouTube. This is going to be the intro for the Vintage Challenge on 9/25. I ran here from the train. I made it to round one, so that was great. So we're going to just do this little deck intro post round one. You've seen this deck before. It's not exactly a surprise. This is the version of PO that I've been testing. And by testing, I mean it's been sitting in my card collection, and I have not played any games since the last time I played it on stream. But this is how I'm trying to build PO these days, which is with 0 Urza Saga, maximum number of basics, and playing full 4 dress down still. The logic and reasoning is, here's how the logic and reasoning works. Urza Saga PO is definitely better than I initially gave it credit for. My problem with Urza Saga PO is it skews certain matchups. It makes some matchups better and some matchups worse, right? So in my mind, when you play Urza Saga, you are opening yourself up to vulnerabilities in terms of Force of Vigor, Wasteland, Collector Oof, stuff like that, which in my mind, in my practice, in my testing, has made PO a worse deck versus Bug, Golos, and a better deck versus Doomsday, Jeskai, most blue matchups, basically. So the problem with that skew is that the metagame right now is upwards of 35% Golos and Deathrite Shaman. Upwards of 35% Golos and Deathrite Shaman, which I think means you should probably try to avoid a deck that is going to skew you into a worse matchup versus those decks. So in my experience, how Oof affects Saga is that because you are getting Wastelanded, and you are typically like an Esper Shell, so your mana base is pretty bad. When Collector Oof turns off your Moxen, you lose your major ways to activate Urza Saga, which means if you don't activate your Urza Saga, it is just a vanishing land, which is really, really not good. Really, really bad. There are obviously games where Urza Saga is good against Collector Oof, and those games are typically where you draw 2 basic islands. And some of these Tinker lists are playing 1 basic island, some of them are playing 2. You can probably build a Saga Tinker list or Saga Tinker PO list that is like my list, that is blue-black, and plays a bunch of basic islands to kind of negate that. And that's probably totally fine. In the end, I've kind of come around that Urza Saga PO is definitely, like I said, I think it's better than I gave it credit for, but I think it skews your deck towards the wrong matchups. And maybe Urza Saga will be a tool for me when I build PO decks in the future, depending on the metagame. If it's a super Jeskai metagame, it sounds like maybe a metagame where you do want to play some Saga. Maybe you want to play a Saga, so you could maybe tutor for it with a Demonic Tutor or something. There's definitely things. For me, this version of PO is one of the best versions of PO I've ever played versus Bug. And it's one of the better versions that I've played versus Shops. And the reason is because I'm playing 4 basics. 4 basic is incredible. Just negating Wastelands out of your opponent's deck is very, very strong. Negates the Ghost Quarter Crucible plan. And then Dress Down helps solve Collector Oof, Leovold, all those kind of problematic creatures. And then obviously you're still on 4 Hurkyl's Recall for Shops. So in my mind, I think this deck is better suited to play against a metagame that is full of Golos and Bug. And that's kind of it. And like I said, there's not much changes to this list since the last time you've seen it. It's got all the PO staples. You're using tons and tons of flex slots to play Dress Down. So you're kind of a little shorter on Flusterstorms. I'm playing Karn as another alternate win condition, also because it helps me in the pseudo mirrors and Saga matchups and that kind of thing. And then I think if there's going to still be a huge percentage of Bug players in the room, main decking Sphinx is just a very easy way to solidify your Bug matchup. Still testing a bunch of random cards in the sideboard. Obviously, you have your play sets of Hurkyls and Fluster. I'm trying out an Ashiok in this list. It's pretty good against Saga. Not super good against Saga, because obviously the Saga tokens kill it. But depending on how you time your Ashiok, it can be pretty good to turn off the... it's kind of like an opposition agent. It's probably worse than opposition agent, but I wanted to see how it fared along with some of my Dredge Hate. Still playing a Blightsteel because I think you should respect shops and you should always have a Blightsteel as a choice to tinker for. Lattice because we're playing with Karn, and then I'm trying out some defense grids versus the more problematic free spells decks like Bazaar. And that's all. That's the intro. This is the kind of deck I want to be testing, but the problem is there's really not much to test for at the moment. Hopefully we'll get an announcement soon for Eternal Weekend Online, in which case, brilliant. I can start testing this deck a lot more and a lot more often. And we'll see how we do today. I really do think that this is a great way to build PO, and I'm kind of sad that if I don't push it, it doesn't really seem like it's going to get any traction among the PO players. So let's try to win a challenge today with it. All right, cool. I'm here. No intro at the moment. I'm just going to jump right into this game because I'm 10 minutes down on clock. I just ran here from the train station, but we made it. We're on time. We get to play Magic. Everything is good. We're playing Dress Down PO just because that was the thing I could sign up for on Friday with the deck. Our starting hand is fine. I'm okay with this. Let's begin. Our starting hand has some problems. It's not the most powerful, but it does this, which is pretty sweet. My opponent was on 5 cards, it looks like, and they kept, or 5 cards maybe? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards, and they had an Ancestral. We had a misstep because we're broken. Cast this before showing Academy. Obviously, I can get dazed, but I don't want them to force this and not have a mana for Academy. And I think it's better to use my Academy mana to deploy a Soul Ring right now. I still have the ability to go Snap, Misstep, even Fluster. Okay, that's pretty good. I have to play this match very fast. I only have 13 minutes on my clock, so that's something worth noting as well. Yeah, I can't really vamp for much because I would have to use my Black Source, which I don't want to do. Yes, okay,
Sorry,
so I have...
you had to run. Thanks for streaming today.
I have a Narset with Flusterstorm backup, so I'm okay with that. Obviously, this doesn't find me a land, but it finds me Moxen and stuff, and I probably will cast a Dress Down to cycle as well. Sapphire is great. I think a Sapphire is much better than Force here. Yes. And then I think I want to cycle this Dress Down, see if I can hit a land. Cool. Perfect, actually. Perfect. All right, well, now I have, wow. Yeah, now I have Vampiric with Flusterstorm backup. Just get a Tinker, and we should win this game. This game is pretty much entirely based on Misstep countering Ancestral, which is kind of a high variance thing, but it happens. I guess my opponent could cast Collector Roof here, and that would be pretty bad for me. That's the problem with cycling the Dress Down, but I think I had to. I don't really think I had a big choice in the matter. Demonic. I don't think they have a flush. What can they get? They can't get Ancestral. They could get their own Fluster. They could get a Collector Oof. I guess this just resolves because I have Fluster backup for my Vamp for Tinker. So yeah, I'm playing PO. It's just the easiest deck I could submit on Friday. So I guess they could get Lotus and play something. That maybe would have been bad. But I'm just gonna put a... Actually, I don't know if I'm supposed to put a Sphinx into play here. Ah. Okay. Okay, now I will put a Citadel in play. I guess they could still have Flusterstorm at the end of this, but it's really hard for my Citadel to miss with a land to give and an Arset. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible I was supposed to counter tutor. I'm trying to play extremely fast because I'm down a lot of clock. Why did I activate this? I don't know why I activated this. That was really stupid. I wanted to get my Narset activation before I PO'd it, but that's not how this works. What do I even have in my Karn board? Needle. What do I think they got? I think they got Collector Roof. You just force it. Oh, I also have Snap. Nothing at the moment. I'm just gonna get a Soul Guide Lantern. Turn off that, and then I'm just gonna leave this force. And then next turn I can just Lattice Lock. Oh, okay. Okay. This isn't even bad. It's just like a couple turns of attacking. Okay, sweet. So we picked up game 1. 9 minutes for 2 more games, possibly. I have Sphinx already in the main. Do I want any other cards? I don't know. I guess I want to get rid of Hercules. For Needle. Needle is not as important when I don't play Saga, but it's still okay. Like, I don't think Flusterstorm and Needle are as good as they are when you play Saga PO. I think it's usually not as good. Don't really have a lot of cards because I have have like a lot of main deck cards for the matchup. Do I just want a Needle and that's it? Maybe. Let me just quickly look through. Yeah, I think that looks fine. Okay, so game 2. This hand doesn't really have a lot of any Moxen, but I don't think it's a mulligan per se. I'm gonna keep it. It's obviously not a powerful hand, but we're playing against bugs, so it's a little weird. I assume we just get Deathray Shaman here unless they have Ancestral. Okay, yep. Yeah, we'll show them the basic island that they know we have. Oh yeah. Yeah, 109-ish. We got there. Well, they know I have Fluster, so I assume this is like an Oko or something. Yeah. Oh, not much I can do about this. I can always turn it off later if I need to. I'm just going to crack for an island to get another turn. If they want to counter or daze or anything this, I don't really care. That's fine with me. I don't really like drawing both of the Fluster Storms in this matchup, but that's where we are. They're considering countering it. The upside of countering it is that I don't get to hold up Fluster Storm if they have something that they would have to cast that would get countered by Fluster Storm. But this one has 4 islands. See if they have a wasteland. Not exactly sure what I'm gonna tutor for. I might just tutor for Ancestral if I can resolve like a dress down. The downside of that would be like a Vigor, maybe? I'm not sure. Not sure what my plan is here. I mean, obviously I'd like to get a Tinker, but I don't have a Moxen at the moment. Karn looks pretty bad when my opponent is accelerated as much as they are. Turn to Leo. Yeah, but I currently have the mana to beat a Fluster, right? Well, not if they cast a spell. Okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna cast this Vamp. I think I'm getting Ancestral Recall and then casting a Dress Down. I guess they could counter the Dress Down, which would be problematic. Yeah, it does kind of feel like they have a Fluster of their own. I don't really think I have other choices, though. Yeah, I don't really think I have other choices. Like, this isn't Fluster Stormable, so they kind of have to have a Force or a Vigor or something. I don't want to cast this first because if they flustered my Vamp, I could fluster back. Okay, sweet. So this draws my Ancestral and it stays in play. They only have, oh wow, yeah, this is really good for me. Ancestral, target myself. If they have Fluster, I can pay, or I have 2 Fluster backup. Dress Down is so good. It's crazy. If I can just draw into like Moxen here, I kind of needed 2 Moxen. Maybe we can brainstorm. Yeah, let's brainstorm. Obviously, I can't tinker with Flusterback. Okay, well, I have some stuff. Let's put it that way. I wish I hadn't left open my wastelandable land, but that's where we are in life. All right, so I'm definitely gonna just play this top and pass, holding open Fluster, and I have forces and stuff. So as long as I don't get oofed or if I don't get wastelanded, I think I'm in good shape. I can just tinker a Sphinx and then try to protect it. 7, I go to 9. I take 7, I go to 7, I go to 5, I go to 3. Yeah, I didn't really, I don't think I like that play very much. Repealing like Tarmogoyf is also kind of interesting as it just makes the clock super long. But I mean, when I like what I did. Like I said, I feel like the only thing I'm super scared about is Wasteland. I guess double Fluster does do some dumb things too. Oh, I guess can I even beat a Fluster? I don't know. I don't think it matters. I think I have to try to fight here no matter what. I like how I played this game, I think. If I win, it's because I had Dress Down in my deck, which is sweet. So if I Fluster this, I don't know, whatever. I don't really have time to think about this. I definitely have to go for Sphinx, not Citadel. So they have to choose how this. Obviously, this first one gets countered, but then they have to choose. They can just pay 2 mana to counter my other 2, and then they have 1 mana left over, and I can then Fluster again, which will counter all of their things, and then I still have 2 forces. Are they Flustering again? Oh god, this is going to become very problematic, isn't it? Oh, no, they're paying. Okay, that's really good for us. I think we're winning then. This is my Fluster. Okay, so they have 2 Flusters. Same target. 1, 2, 3. Okay, they can't pay for all of these, any of these Flusters. So they have a force. I have a force. Well, my 2 Flusters that I was complaining about earlier definitely came in handy. So I guess the number of Flusters I had was the perfect number of Flusters. Now they need an answer to Sphinx, and I have a force. So I think we're good here. Do I think whose Fluster was a mistake? Their Fluster? Probably. I didn't really do the math, but I don't think they can ever win with me having 2 Flusters, so. But maybe they could have led force, I force back, then they Fluster, then I double Fluster. The fuck does this get? Time Walk? No, Time Walk doesn't do anything. Oh, the card Fluster? No, it's fine. It keeps some broken things in check. I don't know how this can come back and bite me. I don't know how letting this resolve could come back and bite me here. Like, if they're searching for their petty theft answer, like, I have it matched, so it shouldn't matter. Yeah, and I can counter either of them, right? Isn't it better for me to counter their Sphinx answer than to counter the tutor and then have them draw the Sphinx answer on the next turn? I don't think I would counter Ancestral. I think all I want to do is counter the Sphinx answer. Did I shuffle? Oh, I tinkered. Oh, I didn't have double force because I forgot because I shuffled with tinker. Oh no, I did have before. Yeah, okay, never mind. Okay, cool. Here we go. I don't have any more Fluster Storms, so it's just more blue cards. Yes, petty theft, power, like some kind of Doomblade. Obviously not Doomblade, but like want the new one, Grasp of some kind. Usually there'll be one answer or 0 answers in a 75. There's also things like a Toxic Deluge out of the board, but it's kind of hard to bring that in. Jace the Mind Sculptor, yep, that's a reasonable answer. There are answers. It's just does Fingers play it? I don't know. Oko, I guess, is this what that is? Oh, this is an Energy Flux. I don't know if I actually have to counter this, but I think it's fine. This way, I spin, and I hold priority activate so I can get both my blue cards, so I will always have double force after my next turn. Yeah. Whee! We did it. All right, so dress down goddamn MVP. GG's. Oh, wow. All right. Whew. Yeah, Fluster did some serious work in that game, and maybe I'm wrong with the number of Flusters I should be having in my post board games versus Bug. I don't know. It's definitely something I need to consider because heuristics have changed, but this deck is much closer to old PO than it is to Saga PO. So I don't know. We'll have to think about it. All right, here we are. Welcome to round 2, Vintage Challenge. How many rounds today? We've got 52 players, 6-round event. My hand has Force and Tinker, but no accelerants. This is a tough hand to keep. But I do think it's keepable. Force, Island, top, 2 draws, spins. Pretty bad hand versus Fluster, obviously, but it's a bit of a risky hand, but I can't say I want to mulligan this. I still have a Citadel, so I don't have to worry about Tinker targets. If they end up on shops, there's possibility that I can just pitch the Sphinx and cast the Recall. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable to mulligan here. But I'm going to keep Saga. Okay. What else? Jet. Saga, Jet, Go. That's very good for our future. And so is that. So is that. All right, well, I think we're going to win this game. I'll have to see if they end up with a Flusterstorm deck or if there's something else. Do any of these cards do anything for me? Not really. I guess if I get Revokered. Yeah, okay. Okay, so now it's pretty likely we'll cast, we'll pitch Sphinx to Force if they actually cast a spell, because Hercule's Recall is obviously quite good against Saga. It kind of just depends on if they're workshops or if they're Tinker. Because if they're Tinker, they can go like Island, hold open Saga Fluster. But it looks like they're on workshops, so we should just kill them here. trick to winning with PO is draw a lot of tinkers. I could play this and target Tinker. And it doesn't really matter. All right, so I think we're against Golos Shops, who kept an interesting hand. I don't think Urza's Saga is so powerful that you can just keep it on the back of just Saga. Vintage is not really a format where that's the case. If you get wastelanded, and there's a lot of wastelands in Vintage, 40% of the field sometimes 50% of the field, I don't really like that play. So I don't really think the hand my opponent kept was... I don't think I would keep it in the blind. But I also don't know what other cards they had, so maybe there's different information there. Obviously, we're going to bring in Blightsteel and Hercules, and we're going to take out Sphinx. And we're going to take out Fluster and Misstep. Don't need these cards. We can consider Needles if we have more cards we want to bring out. There are plenty of things that we could bring out. We could bring out some number of Dress Downs. We could bring down Narset, Citadel. I kind of like having both Citadel and Blightsteel, but maybe you don't even need it. You don't really need it, but the nice part is when you drop both Tinker, like a Tinker target, you're not completely dead in the water, which I do like. Maybe I'll just take out Narset and I will run a Needle, so I have it as a possible target for a tutor or some kind. And yeah, this looks pretty reasonable. Dress Down turns off Revoker and it turns off Golos Trigger, which are both acceptable, but not great. I wouldn't say it's at its best here. But this looks fine to me. I have 4 Hercules and a Blightsteel. Good, let's go. Okay, I have drawn the Blightsteel, which is typically not advised. I do have a Hercules and a basic island. So, and I can brainstorm this Blightsteel away technically. I think this is a keep. It's not the strongest hand. It doesn't have a force, but yeah, opponent conceded to Citadel. I mean, I had Citadel top. I was just trying to figure out the best way to go about it, and they determined that it was probably not worth their time, which is fair. I think they're also double queuing, so makes sense. Yeah, this is not my favorite hand of all time. But okay, well, yeah, that's certainly not great for us. But we still have Brainstorm, and I'm gonna just deploy Mana Vault here. Am I gonna deploy Mana Vault here? Or am I gonna Brainstorm end of turn? I'm gonna deploy Mana Vault here. So just, this game looks a little rough for us. Obviously, Workshop Null Rod is one of the better draws they can have. We obviously have it a little bit covered with Hercules, but we do need to draw. We have to hope they don't have spheres, and we need to draw more islands. Obviously, we blank their Wasteland with our island. Ooh, a Mystic Forge. It's a good one. It's a little bit harder to utilize Mystic Forge when there's a Null Rod in play. You can't activate it. You can't activate Moxen. All those kind of things. An interesting question will come if we draw a card here that is not a land, and will we brainstorm or not? Jeez, these cards are bad. Boy, it's so bad for us if we brainstorm and miss, but what are we doing if we don't? What is the percentage chance in 3 draws that we hit a 6 of? In 3 draws. How do I do this? This is exclamation mark. The fuck is the command? I'll use my chat advantage. Where's my chat advantage? Someone type in the command for MTG bot. I think I maybe have to Google it. MTG bot commands. Odds. Number of cards in deck, number of successes, number of draws. Odds. 51, 6 successes in 3 draws. Oh, odds 6, 3, 1. Odds of drawing 1 or more of 6 cards in 3 draws is 31%. Ha. Yeah. That's not good. There are other hits, of course. I'm going to wait. There are obviously other hits besides the 6 fetches, but those are the ones that are the best. Alright, if they play a Golos here, it's quite poor for us. It's just going to get a Saga, which is annoying. Oh, Stonecoil Serpent? Okay, I mean, it's a clock. It's interesting. Alright, how long can I feasibly wait? I need 2 turns, because if I... Well, technically I could hit a Tolarian Academy and I wouldn't need to 2 turns. The problem is if they ever draw a sphere, it's really problematic for me. All right, I'm just gonna kill myself with Brainstorm. Ooh, we hit Rainforest and Academy. Hello. Don't mind if I do. All right, so we're gonna put away Blightsteel Yogwell, and then we'll fetch a basic island and play a top. That waiting worked out. Okay. We take 6, but then we'll have Hercules open. I like where we're at. We do need to wait a win. That's still okay. Though this Wasteland's kind of annoying for Academy. It might not be okay, actually. I kind of need to win on the same turn I cast Hercules Recall. I guess now I don't because they tapped their Wasteland. Should be interesting to see what we draw here. Ah. See. I see. Wait, didn't I put the Yogwell back? The fuck did I put back? I thought I said I was putting back Yogwell and Blightsteel. Is that not what I said? What did I do? I put back Dress down. Okay. Well, yeah. All right. Sure. Okay. I don't really like the look of this Hercules, though. So I would just play Academy, Hercules them, and then I have a 5 colorless and a blue, which is not really enough. I also have a top, so I could find a PO. Yeah, that'd probably be good enough. Does it make a difference if I play Mana Crypt first? No. Okay. Accept. I don't have enough blue to snap a recall yet. I do kind of want to find a force for Null Rod, which means I'll have to tap Mana Vault very likely. I mean, I can just hold open Hercules again. But if they just go Null Rod first and then pass priority, then that doesn't do anything. I've already played a Tolarian as my land. Well, either way, I'm playing this top. The problem is I can't find a PO and cast it. I could find a Tinker and cast it. I could find a Time Walk and cast it. If I miss, I can still use my colorless mana to play a top. I think this is fine. Urkel's Jet Ponder. I guess I can Hercules myself. I can Hercules myself. Maybe I'll just Hercules myself and draw into Jet Ponder. Now I have Yogwill Ancestral, but I won't be able to use the Rainforest, which I'm not exactly thrilled about. Think I would rather... spin again. What other black cards can I draw? Demonic? Just want to find a Pia, really. A Karn. What's a Karn do for me? Needle? I'm short on Needle. No, I can draw... I can Hercules myself. Oh, I don't have the Hercules anymore. Or... I could just draw through this with a Yogwill Ancestral. Is that good? I could shuffle this. I don't exactly want to shuffle it because I kind of need this Hercules, don't I? I might draw through this. Then I just don't have access to force, though, right? Why is this all so close, but so far? Wait, what if I use the top to draw the Hercules, and then I play my second top, and I Hercules myself again, and then maybe we go somewhere? I'm going to try that. That kind of seems interesting to me. No, but I make a bunch of mana is what I'm talking about. So now I have the mana to draw into the Karn. 4. Draw into Karn, play a Needle on Wasteland. I used all my Hercules recalls to do this, but I think it's worth it. This way I saved by all that blue mana. And then I think I'm going to shuffle the rest here, very likely. Oh, never mind. Now they're going to have to play Sphere first. Yeah, I'm going to keep this. Okay, so if they don't sequence this correctly, they're going to be in big trouble. They have to go Sphere and then Null Rod. And even then, we have a million blue mana, so I can go like Snap Ancestral, Snap Hercule. Yeah, this game's over. This game should be over. I think the Hercules myself plays to get the Karn is actually a winning line. I really like how we played this. I really like this. There are some things that could come into play. Ghost Quarter or Strip Mine are kind of annoying. That could throw a wrench in our plans fairly easily. Where are you getting all that blue mana, Smash? Oh, you just mean to make a bunch of colorless mana? Yeah, my opponent definitely did not. They have to lead Sphere with me being tapped out here. I don't think that like making a bunch more. Oh, do you think we could maybe have gotten Karn Lattice? Is what you're saying? That might have been true. So if we had just gone for Yogwill, we might have been able to get 10 mana. It's possible. It's definitely possible. It's maybe it's possible. We'll have to go back and look after this match. That's an interesting point, Smash. I assume you're talking like just make a bunch of colorless mana and get Lattice. We're gonna check that after the match. Or I guess we can check it now. No, I was gonna not draw. Oh wow, they found Ghost Quarter. I was gonna not draw cards off of. Wait, they're tapping the Ghost Quarter? Oh, wow. Interesting. No, they're not saying Ancestral 3 times. They're saying Hercules 3 times. So I can't Lattice lock them. Wait, can I Snapcaster Lattice lock them? No, they're gonna kill my Mana Crypt. Wait, why am I Mana Crypt? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm 2 mana short. If they hadn't done this and I had drawn a Mox or a land, I would have been able to snap Lattice lock them. That would have been sick. Oh, right, they have a Stone Coil for 1. True. Huh. We knew what we were drawing. Okay. Time to do some thinking. How do I beat this Karn? Karn, not the easiest card to beat. Yeah, I don't think they should have hit Crypt. I think they should have hit Opal or something. Huh. This is really, really annoying. Well, no. So this makes 4 mana. So I have 6 mana. I can Lattice, but I will lose to the Stonecoil Serpent. I will also, if they had not played a Stonecoil Serpent, I would have lost to decking. So both ways would have been equally problematic. So what I do have is Snapcaster Mage. And I can either Urkels, or I can just Ancestral. If they cast Lattice next turn, if I have a Snapcaster, that's okay. I could bait them into casting Lattice. No, I can't because they have a Ghost Quarter. So I can only use this Academy one more time, really. So I think I play Soul Ring, play top, tap my top, and then go Snap Ancestral. I think that's what I'm going to do. I can also make 1 more mana by grabbing a Tormod's Crypt. If that means anything. I don't think that means anything. All right, I'm going to make the play. Merchant Scroll and Force of Will. I can get Repeal. I can get Mystical. It'll have Summoning Sickness. So now they'll have to Ghost Quarter me. I think Repeal makes the most sense. This one has Summoning Sickness, but I'm not going to stand up my Needle because I don't want to trade Serpent for Needle. I could trade Serpent for Needle. I don't really want to trade Serpent for Needle. Okay, go. I shouldn't ever expect my Force will resolve because they should play Sphere first. I don't know if they will play Sphere first this time. Obviously, my Repeal currently represents lethal. So they have to Ghost Quarter my Tolarian Academy. They don't have a choice. They have to Ghost Quarter my Tolarian Academy, or else they're gonna lose. Because I'm pretty sure I would repeal this, have a ton of mana, go Lattice lock them, and the game would end. This has been an interesting game because I really did not expect to get Karned after I countered Null Rod. What a very interesting game. Yep, so now I don't have a sphere. Yeah, all right, cool. Now I can have 6. They got Lattice? Oh, do I just lose? I lose to decking? Oh. Oh well. That's unfortunate. Yeah. Okay, I guess I did just lose. But how could I have played around that? Not go on Snapcaster Mage? I also lose to my Mana Vault. Okay. I don't know. Maybe there was a way I could have played around that. Not sure what it would have been. Okay, there's possibilities that I could have played around that, but I'm not sure what they are. I guess I couldn't cast Snapcaster Mage, but they could have just at any time Ghost Quartered my Academy, right? Then I cast Snap Ancestral, and then I have an island after. Okay, I misplayed there. I should have just held open the Academy mana. Big mistake. Big mistake. Interesting. All right, whatever. I mean, game 3. On the play versus Shops. So I guess I had to hold open my academy. That's so weird. That's so weird. Or no, I should have repealed the serpent. I could have repealed the serpent? Maybe? Then they couldn't have made that play? So did I lose that game because I didn't go for Karn Lattice off of like the Yogg-Will Hercules thing? Well, the problem with me lattice locking them when we both have a Karn out is I have both a tapped Mana Vault and less cards in my library, and there's 2 creatures in play for each side, or one for each side. Yeah, I think I should. I mean, maybe the biggest problem was I didn't go for the biggest problem is probably I should have looked for the Karn Lattice line during the Hercules looping. There's a lot of awkwardness to this hand. There's a lot of awkwardness to this hand. But I don't really think I can mulligan this. Like, I'm pretty close to a Tinker. I have a Force if I need to. I have a Karn if I can't maybe get to a Karn. It's pretty close. Oh, no. We won game 1, so. Almost getting one on the draw is nice. So if my opponent has nothing that I care about, then I can upkeep Mystical for Tinker and Blightsteel them. If they have something I care about, I can Karn them. Well, I have to force this. It's very unlikely they're going to follow up with another one because they would have played out their Moxen first. So, Cage. Okay. Uh... Doesn't look good for me. Doesn't look good for me. Think it's more correct to keep my Mox Opal turned on than to draw a card here. At some point, I can lock them, right? I just untap. If I plus and I demonic for a Lotus. Wait, I have 4 mana. I don't know. I'm supposed to demonic. Oh, this costs 3 mana. What do I demonic for? I play this and I get 1, 2, 3, 4 mana, and if I Academy, I have 7 mana. So they have to do nothing. It's kind of hard to say that they'll do nothing. How close am I to Sphinx? Kind of close, but not really. This could be bad. Ah, Wasteland is so annoying. Okay. Maybe I need to go... Maybe, because I could have untapped this Mana Vault if there wasn't a Wasteland. All right, that's fine. Beautiful. I'll go get another island. That's it? Okay. Still can't untap this. Dress down. I don't think I can play this Academy yet. Oh, I don't have 3 colors of mana anymore. Fuck. I'm trying to play a little fast here, but oh god, they drew second workshop, but they don't have a Golos. Wow. I drew Blightsteel, of course. So I need to plus 1 more time. I guess I could be standing up and attacking. So if they do nothing 1 more time, we lock them. I think I played this game badly. Animate one of their things and dress down? Oh my fucking god, is this a... Bro! Fucking hell. Drew both the... yeah. Oh, they drew third workshop statue. Yeah. Okay. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I'm still too short. I untap my mana vault. Haha, no. Alright, I guess we lose. This is so sad. I don't know what else I can do. I guess I can draw Hercules. They drew Strip. Yeah, they got Strip Mine. They fetched Strip Mine. Yeah, we're just dead. This is so sad. Losing to Golos makes me so sad. And Crucible, of course. So we have to draw Hercules exactly this turn. I have to draw Hercules exactly this turn. But everything costs so much mana, right? Wait, how much does Sphinx cost? Nah, 10? I have 8? Wait, what does this even do, though? Does it actually do anything? I don't think this does anything. I actually think this doesn't even do anything, right? I probably shouldn't have done that. Buys me time, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't really do anything. Because I tried to float a mana, and I shouldn't have, maybe? I don't know. I have like a minute and a half on my clock. I like wanted to make sure I floated a mana first. But yeah, I mean that might have been something. I don't know. They still have infinite mana over here. What the hell? Yeah, I'm just dead. They have too much cards. Wait, they didn't go for double strip. Yeah, all right, whatever. This is so frustrating. Oh, cool, Draw Academy. Yeah, why not? Yeah, sure. I feel like I could have played this game better though. I don't know how. Yeah, but maybe the biggest problem was game 2. I should have won and I didn't. I don't really think that it would have been better if I had used the island. But now I'm just super dead. Super dead. There's just no point, right? I could have played this game better. There's definitely some way. I think the biggest thing is last game though. I think I probably threw a game where I could have killed them. My opponent is actually taking actions at random, I swear. None of these are the lines that I would be making, but I don't know. Yikes. Why am I not getting Crucible Strip Mined? Fucking Golos, man. Actually disgusting. I want to go back and look at game 2 because I think we had it. Wait, that attacked Karn? I don't give a shit. You got it, homie. Hercules. Kind of needed Hercules there. I think I can cast it. Doesn't think it matters. This costs how much? 6. Probably through this match. Probably through this match. Let's go look. Let's go look real quick. I'm pretty sure I just didn't see the Yogg triple just for mana. Where did that happen? Here? Okay, so I didn't have it at this point. So this is fine. Doing this to draw makes the most sense. Where do I know about Karn? Here. Okay, so if I draw, I think I do draw on Hercules myself. So let's see. Oh no, I went for the Karn, right? So if I do it one more time, right? Oh no. If I stop here and I go Yogwill with let's say two colorless floating, Hercules target myself with one colorless floating. That's one colorless floating, which replays this and this and this. So it's 5, 6, 7. Tap for blue down to 6. Hercules, yeah. I flub this game. If I had just ignored tops and I had just drawn my Karn and used Yogwill into triple recall to make colorless mana, I could have gone Karn Lattice, win the game, and kill my Crypt on the following turn. Yeah. I have more than enough colorless mana if I go for that line. So just a missed victory here. Just a missed victory. That's all it is. Okay. Yeah, I figured I kind of threw that game. Let's just jump right into round 3. Here we are, round 3. And I'm playing against Kyufje, and they're on Lurrus, so I expect them to be on Breach. This hand is... I'm going to keep it. Weird, but I'm going to keep it. Okay, well. I should have... No? Oh, okay. That's fine. Okay. It's going to be a weird game. Kind of very much draw-dependent game. Not a good matchup for us, to say the least. Breach has always been pretty bad for PO, just because Breach gets to play a bunch of Flusters and Pyroblasts. Yeah, I mean, if they have a main deck Mind Trap, they have main deck Mind Trap. They win. Congratulations. Wasteland. Okay. So maybe it's just Lurrus Jeskai control then. Wasteland is an interesting one. I mean, I'd like to draw a PO right now. Just PO with Force backup. Probably win game winning. My opponent just left, so... yeah. That's really disappointing about last round. But, the Hercules myself in the Shops matchup line is not a super common one. And I just didn't see, I didn't see the way to victory from there, so... Definitely learned something, which is good. Definitely learned something. All right, I'm gonna order food. Yeah. My opponent did let me know that they're heading out for a second, so we're just waiting for them to come back. Oh, they're back. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. I wasn't interested in Yard willing to draw cards. I was definitely more interested in. I didn't really just see the line I wanted. That's a sick draw. That is such a nasty draw. I think it makes more sense to go for Pio than Tinker. That doesn't sound right. But I do have a blue Moxen and 5 cards. Nah, that can't be right. It's just got to be Tinker. Well, I could play around. Yeah, I'm going to jam right now, so. I think Tinker. Well, Tinker can brick on a force. Pio could brick on 5, I guess, theoretically. I'm not actually sure. I'm going to try Pio. I haven't done Pio in a while. It's Pio. Have we even cast a Pio in this tournament yet? I feel like we have cast 0 paradoxical outcomes so far in this tournament. All right, force. Force. Whee! Let's go. All right, so we bricked. Hilarious. All right, island. Jet. I will go tutor for another one, but we did technically brick here. All right, my opponent has the opportunity to tinker me. Well, I guess not really, because I have a fluster. My opponent has the opportunity to breach kill me. That is a true statement. Breach, Lotus, Brain Freeze. Why play Crypt? So that I have more mana to pay for a Flusterstorm or something. Because the life total is irrelevant, but the mana might not be. I'm going to get a PO, but I don't believe I'm going to cast it on my turn. They could also just Brain Freeze me here, right? Well, I guess I have Fluster for that. Maybe I'm just supposed to play PO on my turn. What's the worst that could happen? I have all this mana. Whee! I'm just going to do it. They didn't have a negation before. They would have had to draw a negation right then and there. Okay, dope. Wait, did I? Oh, no, I hit it Yagwell. Okay, well, this game is now over. All right, well, Pio gets a game victory, which is nice. That's, it's been I feel like it's been a long time since we won a game with Pio. It just, is not the most important part of this deck, you know? You can concede. Oh, what are we getting Flusterstormed? I could just pay. Sure, let's just pay. Yeah, I'll pay 9. Let's do that. Cool. You're still dead. Cool. Dope. Mox goes up. Mox comes down. You can't explain that. So I'm not exactly sure what my opponent is playing. They have a Lurrus and a Wasteland, and that's kind of all I really know, right? I mean, we could bring in some defense grids here. We could bring in some flusters here. It's kind of weird to be playing defense grids and flusters. Kind of assume they have white mana, so Sphinx looks pretty bad. Hercules looks pretty bad. Soul Guide could be pretty good. This, I was gonna say this is a matchup where I take out an island, but my opponent's on Wastelands. I still can probably take out an island because I have 4 of them. I actually am gonna try not taking out Mystical Tutor. I think trimming on a dress down is reasonable. And maybe just trimming on 2 dress downs is reasonable. I don't know what they're playing, so it's a little hard to gauge. I'm gonna try something like this. Okay, so what do we have? We've got a Force in our bad PO card, but we also have Lantern and Top. I think this is probably a keep. Yeah, I'm gonna try keeping it. I'm jealous. They have a Sapphire. Very jealous. Nice. It's a good draw. I think I would rather deploy a Top this turn and have access to spin rather than play a Lantern. That could technically come back to bite me, but I think it gives me the most upside. I don't know. I really just don't know if my opponent is on Breach or not. That's kind of the biggest question here. I would assume they might be on Dreadhorde Arcanist. Oh, they're Rug? Oh, it's fucking... It's Koofjay. It's gonna be 4-color Lurrus Breach with Deathrite Shamans. Duh, why didn't I think of that? This player likes to play some stuff. Put it that way. I didn't even go look at their deck list, but yeah. Oh no, that actually is bug. Huh. Yeah, so I'm gonna assume this is 5-color Deathrite Shaman Lurrus with Breach, maybe. Maybe Breach. Well, these POs are looking a lot better now. Yeah, I'm just gonna go the way it is and play a land and pass, and then we can brainstorm with a fetch. Probably keeps everything. Well, maybe we don't even want to brainstorm if it's gonna keep everything. It's a pretty reasonable looking like end step PO, just a bait a counter kind of spell. No, I kind of think I'm just gonna keep building my current base here and deploy all of my cards. This also keeps them further from anything like that. I mean, if they want to counter it, they can counter it too. That's okay with me. I guess we'll hit the ponder. So we know that we have Demonic and Brainstorm on the top of our library. We have a really nice looking PO soon here. Probably won't be tapping the top for that one, but we can also draw into Brainstorm and Force if we need to. Kind of just depends on what they do. They have all of these colors, and I have no idea what they're going to do. Buy Force for 3. Well, that's not good. I wasn't really expecting that. Or else I could have held open 4 mana for a PO and it would have been really, really good. Think we should just force this pitching a PO. Okay. So what I think I'm gonna do is draw into this Brainstorm, cast Brainstorm, and get rid of my PO. And there's still a small possibility we hit a Force, if I'm correct. Because we go 1 deeper than we saw. Maybe we don't go 1 deeper than we saw. I don't remember. Could always draw with the Soul Guide Lantern to go 1 deeper as well. That might be reasonable, because I don't know if I'm getting breached anymore. Maybe I still am getting breached. I think this just makes my Brainstorm so much better. Okay. Interesting. So what I could do is put back top and PO, and then Demonic for a Mana Crypt, and then on the next turn, Tinker with Fluster back up? Sure. Or I could just Fluster right now and counter everything. Still don't think I want... Well, I kind of would want top at that point. No, I think it's better to have Demonic and Tinker. The question becomes, do I care about these things getting Biforced? And... no, but I don't really want... I want to get them while they're tapped out, so... kind of? I still don't exactly know what's in their deck. I'm not sure this was the optimal line. Let's put it that way. Depending on what I draw... oh, they have a Strip Mine. Okay, well, rip the Demonic Tutor. All right, I mean, that means they have no cards in their hand, though, so aren't they just dead here? Cool. Weird one. Yo. I'll just draw through Flusterstorm. Time Walk, probably. Or just a top, maybe. Time Walk's usually good in this spot. Then I can, like, Demonic for Yogg-Will next turn. Yeah, we're good here. Or I can do it this turn. We can just go to our next turn. After we... Huh? I guess it's kind of better to just put a PO on top and draw it. Oh, I guess I could have drawn through with the dress down. Probably doesn't matter. I wanted to make sure I Yogg-Will after I sack. I want to kill them with 2 Citadels. So basically, I want to make sure I get 10 permanent, sack, and then Yogg-Will. Just makes my life easier. All right. Tinker is fucking broken. Confirm or deny. PO got a win there too. So 1 game with PO, 1 game with Tinker. Yeah, pretty happy with that, actually. That went pretty well. Okay, let's do it. Round 4, currently 2-1. We're playing against Zaros. Last seen on Bug. Yep, that's a keeper. Doesn't technically do anything, but has PO mana, has Force, has Cycler. Really pretty happy with it, so just needs a payoff card, basically. I guess a nice question is, what am I leading on? And the answer is, I have no idea. Maybe I should just play around Mindbreak Trap and pass. That would be interesting choice. Obviously, Mox Opal doesn't play around Mindbreak Trap, but I still think it's correct to play Mox Opal. Holding Open Repeal lets me bounce like a Deathrite Shaman, which is pretty powerful, or Collector Roof. I think I'm just going to pass. I'm a little loath to play Time Walk right now. It's a blue card for Force, and it doesn't technically get us anywhere. I think I'm more interested in seeing what my opponent's playing. Looks like it's Bug. Hopefully they play Deathrite Shaman. Looks like they will. And I'm just going to repeal this Deathrite Shaman. It's going to really slow my opponent down and give us a chance to kill him on the next turn if we draw the right things. Obviously, this could come back and bite me if my opponent plays a Collector Roof, but I think this is a pretty solid play. My audio is desynced? What does that mean? Yeah, I'll just refresh. I found a Demonic Tutor, which is very close to being lethal. Okay. Yeah, so let's just put a Sphinx of this deal when in play, right? Island. Island. Demonic. Obviously, this plays into Daze, but that's fine. Tinker. Force. Force. Does it resolve? I'm just gonna put a Sphinx in play. Awesome. Glad the refresh fixed it. All right, and my opponent has no answers to Sphinx of Revelation, Sphinx of the Steel Wind in their bug main deck. I will once again tell my viewers, you should play an answer to Sphinx of the Steel Wind in your deck, in your bug deck. If you don't, I'm going to keep putting Sphinxes in play. The Sphinxing will not stop until measures are taken.
Was super surprised to learn Hammer is a better card than Blazing Shoal. So
Yeah.
humbling.
Yeah, I'm on your side on that one for sure, Eric. Thanks for the resub. I am definitely on your side on that one. So what did we do last time? We brought a Needle in for a Hercules recall, and then we were debating whether or not we wanted more Flusterstorms versus Bug. And 2 Flusterstorms seemed like a pretty good number of Flusterstorms, so I'm kind of interested in just leaving it as it is. Yeah, I'm going to just leave it as it is. Guys, it doesn't have Pro Black. Your Bug deck can kill this card or bounce this card. You simply have to respect that it exists. You have the technology. The tools are all in front of you. But it is what it is. No, Dismember only is 5. This is a 6/6. I would probably play Brazen Borrower or Jace the Mind Sculptor. I think those are a bit better than something like some kind of Doomblade effect, the new removal spell from the newest set. I don't remember what it's called. I think that I would rather play Petty Theft or Jace the Mind Sculptor over them, but I'm not sure. I don't play enough Bug to know, to be perfectly honest. Like, wow, this hand is such a trap. You could play Dress Down. If you felt like your Bug deck was having a problem with Urza Saga, which it probably shouldn't, you could always play Dress Down, yeah. This hand is not a good keep, right? I mean, if I didn't have a PO here and I had this 6-card hand, I would keep. If I didn't have either PO here and it was a 5-card hand, I would keep. So I guess I'm just supposed to keep and hope they don't have Fluster. This is certainly a hand, isn't it? Forest. Okay. Oh, yeah, of course. Jet. You go with the forest. Yes. Okay. That's fine. Not the end of the world. I have... Well, it wasn't exactly a great draw. I am going to play Ancestral on their upkeep. Play around Negation. They don't have Fluster up. I could overdraw. All of those things. Okay. Well, we didn't draw any more lands, which is problematic. But we have a Dress Down, so... Oh, they have no follow-up, or are they just attacking first? Okay, they have a strip. God damn it. Why do I bother playing around Wasteland? Man. Well, my Ancestral resolved, but it does not look like we're currently winning this game. Oh, they had Wasteland too. All right, I have other draws. I have draws. We can get out of this. Islands, lands. That's a good one. Yeah. Island, perfect. Just what I drew. All right. We're getting closer. Getting closer. Though I did draw my Sphinx with a Steel Wind, which is a problem because if I could just go end step dress down, be a lot happier. Yeah. Need to draw a land this turn. Tolarian would be fine. No. All right. Well, you can still play to our Tolarian out. I think that I should win this game more often than not with a Resolved Ancestral and this kind of weak start from my Bug player. But they might have a Force, so maybe not. They could just easily have they have a misstep. Okay, sure. All right. Well, I got here, but obviously my Ancestral and my opening hand wasn't great, but I don't think it was a mulligan. And we just needed to draw more lands. Obviously, Strip Mine was a huge issue. We played around Wasteland, but they had Strip Mine, which is just unfortunate, I think. Yeah, let's just run it back. That just seems like normal Magic problems. Okay, on the play, Bug, game 3. Boy, oh boy. That is a trap, but... maybe I could mulligan this? I don't know. Pretty hard to mulligan this. Any Moxen makes it great. Like, simply drawing a Moxen gives me a 4-card PO with Force backup. It's a little hard to put that away. Oh, I have a Lotus. So that's 2 games with... Okay, they're just gonna hold up in Vigor. That's fine. I need a land or a Moxen. This is super frustrating. I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to play this. I guess... pass? Kind of awkward. They have not released details for Eternal Weekend Online, even though I have asked a couple times. This was a kind of a trap hand, but I think the upsides were definitely there. Really don't know how I'm going to proceed forward here. Demonic, I assume. Maybe I could have mulliganed this hand. It just did not feel like a mulliganable hand. Simply either land or Moxen onto first draw of the game puts me in a very stable position with forces and draw spells and plays around Vigor very nicely. Demonic and then lose the floating mana? Maybe they got a fluster or something. I'm not supposed to end step PO there. If they counter it, I just have a dead mana vault. Oh my god, no. Please. Please. Why? Why? Okay. What do I do? I still need to draw the same cards I needed to draw the whole time. What are they fetching for? Assassin's Trophy? Oh, so they have Ancestral with Fluster backup, maybe? I think this is a reasonable force. You could totally get away with not forcing this. If they fluster, I will pay. I am totally willing to make this sacrifice. They have only 4 cards in hand. I still have a force. Repeal, top. I think this is fine. Sure. Yep. Pass. Dig through time, maybe? I really still want just like Islands and Moxen. Certainly a Moxen with some problems, but okay, resolved. All right, well, I'll pass the turn again. Don't call it a comeback. No dig. 5 cards in hand. So interesting. Leo? Maybe they have Leo Fluster. It's got to do. Yeah. That makes sense. Draw into a 3rd force. Or just like... Okay. So I let it resolve, and then I go to my turn. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. I repeal Leovold for 4 mana. I'm 1 short of then POing. So instead, I take Mana Crypt, play Mana Crypt, and then end of turn, repeal Leovold. And we hope that works. Or what if no, I can't draw with top. I only have 5 mana, and repealing Leovold costs 4 mana, and I'm drawing back to 3 mana. Just no good. Okay, so we have to hope they have no follow-up play. Also gonna take a buttload of damage. Really wish we had dress down and not repeal. This is like a very clear example where dress down is just so much better than repeal. But what can we do? We have what we have. Wait, what if I go Mana Crypt, repeal now? That works. Wait, why didn't I think of that? Mana Crypt, repeal now, draw Tolarian for PO. What am I thinking? How am I missing that? What am I doing? All right, cool. Repeal. Obviously, they can draw into force here, but I can't do anything about that. They have force? I mean, that's the end of the game if they have force. Nothing I can do. Wow, they have force. Huh. It's a good hand. We even countered an Ancestral. Oh no, it resolved. So does that mean they have negation? Is there any reason for me to wait until they play a Leovold again? Yeah, if Leovold's their only blue card for force. But that opens up to a third Fluster. Also, it doesn't let me go off. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. Whatever. You have it? Could be Vigor. They had 2 cards in hand, then they drew 1 from Leovold, and then they have a Leovold. Leovold pitches to both forces. Okay, Vigor. Fair. Maybe I shouldn't. No, I still think this is fine. I get to draw 2. I knew I was drawing lands. Draw 3. I hate this game. So if I hadn't... No. If I hadn't activated top, I would have drawn my top. I mean, they probably wouldn't have targeted top. They probably just would have targeted Mana Crypt. Fuck! Alright, that was close. It was close. That would be a reason to play around Vigor. Did they pitch to Leo? No, they pitched Assassin's Trophy. That's so unfortunate. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have jammed then. Oh, we're so fucked. Oh, we can draw Dress Down. We have 4 Dress Downs in our deck, so... No, they didn't. They pitched Assassin's Trophy. Maybe I was too greedy and I should have just waited. I think that was probably just a bad play. All right, I need to draw my Dress Down. Hello, Dress Down. Thank you for responding to my call. I'm just gonna jam. What's the worst that could happen? Apparently nothing. Apparently nothing was the worst that could happen. Oh my god, I'm short on mana. How is this possible? I've drawn so many lands. This is 4 mana. Oh no. I just wanted to tinker, but I'm short. If I just tinkered a Sphinx here. Oh fuck. Okay, so if I get a Yogwill, I'm not taking a tinker with... I mean, I could take a tinker. Time Walk. There's no dig in my deck. Okay, so if I pass the turn here, my opponent has, what, 8 damage on board? Or 8 or 9 damage on board. And then an extra 2. So as long as I don't get Collector oofed, I should be able to go Yogwill, Mana Vault, kill my opponent. Yogwill, Mana Vault. Yogwill, Mana Vault. Alternatively, I can take my Tinker, pass the turn, Tinker off my Mana Crypt. That should be good enough. I lose to... Yeah, I think we're just supposed to Tinker Sphinx. Let's just Tinker Sphinx. I can't Tinker Sphinx right now. But next turn. Oh, Doomwake. Thanks for the big raid. I hope you had a good stream. How's Modern recently? What you been up to? Okay. I can take 8, maybe 9, and then I can't have them draw Death. Oh god, they have Hardcast Force of Will. Well, that's unfortunate. I have a sneaking suspicion that that may happen. Could draw Fluster, could draw Force. Really don't want to lose this flip. Lost this flip. Drew Snapcaster Mage. Okay. Holy shit. Doesn't do anything though. Because there's a Leo in play. And I have no... I have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm 2 mana short of Snap Force Tinker. What about Tinker Snap Tinker? It's just enough for Tinker Snap Tinker, yes. 8. So let's battle. Snap DT Fluster. No, I think Tinker Snap Tinker should do. Or just Tinker Sphinx. Do I want to snap DT as well? Sure. I get Force. Now I have Deathrite and something else covered. Okay. Yep, I accept. Can you beat a Sphinx? No, they can't beat a Sphinx. GG's. Wow. Play Answers to Sphinx in your deck. I mean, maybe they had Answers to Sphinx in their deck, but one lifelink was too much or something. I don't know. GG's though. That was a close set. That was a close set. Ooh, I think my deck's favored versus Bug. Can that be true? Can my deck be favored versus Bug? I think my deck's favored versus, like, not a lot, like a 55 at most, probably not even. I think slightly favored though. I think I'd be down to play against Bug every round ever. Okay, 2 more. Not bad, not bad, not bad. I would take it. All right, here we are. Round 5 of 6, 3-1. We've got a hard pairing up against Miharu Fuyumiya. Notably the best Oath player on Magic Online. So we'll see what happens. I have a nice hand, Force, Ancestral, Mystical for Tinker kind of stuff. Lots of avenues. One of the big problems with this matchup is Miharu plays many counterspells. Like 4 Pyroblast, Veil of Summer, Flusterstorm, Force of Will, Force of Negation, Ancestral Recall. How do I feel? There's like some upside here to forcing and then ancestraling myself, but let me just check what her recent list looks like. Okay, so 2 Fluster, 4 Pyro, 1 Veil, 2 Negation, 1 Trap, 4 Force of Will. That is so many counter spells. All right, I bite. Okay. I'm gonna Ancestral. Okay. She is on Oath. She plays Saga in her Oath list. So. I am now in Mindbreak Trap territory, but I think I'm okay with that. I think the upside is significantly high, where I would be willing to play everything. All right, well, I am really happy with this. I'm going to look to Mystical on the end step. Maybe go for a Tinker. Could always Merchant Scroll for a Force. I have a lot of choices. Okay, so they have Flusterstorm man. Oh, they have no anything. Okay, so now maybe I'm supposed to Mystical in response, so she can't draw into forces, but yeah, I think I'm gonna still just Mystical. Obviously, if this gets countered, it's okay because I can like scroll for PO or something. Let's just get a Tinker. So I currently have tons of mana, so I'm just gonna scroll for a force. Yeah, Miharu's yes. True. Okay. Citadel. Vamp is great. Respond by Pio. Just get a Time Walk. Just get a Yogwill. Get a Time Walk. Get a Yogwill. Get a Time Walk. Get a Yogwill. Yogwill should be good enough. I think a Time Walk is fine. Let's play a Sapphire, cast a Brainstorm, put Moxen back. I actually don't think I'm going to play a Crypt this turn, so let's do a fetch land back. It's a little awkward. Basically, again, I don't really want to play Yogwill before I activate Citadel, or yeah, before I activate Citadel. Oh wow, I bricked pretty hard here. That's kind of interesting. Maybe Time Walk was a badge haul. I have a lot of plays on my next turn, so I think it'll be okay. We'll see though. Could hit Force here. Okay, hit the Yogwill. All right, well that makes things a bit easier, but I don't get to activate first, so I have to go for like a Lattice Win instead. So I have to go for a Lattice Win instead. So what do? I can do this and this. And then I have this, and this. Let's just do a big PO. It seems like a pretty straightforward line. Basically, any spells I cast here will get me to the eventual conclusion, which is going to be Karn and Lattice. But no reason not to draw some more cards. All right, so now, yeah, we even get to look at our hand, which would be nice. I don't need to draw any more cards here. Let's just play out our jewelry. Let's get see if they'll concede to a Ataxium Probe. Nope. Archon of Cruelty, Ancient Grudge, Ponder Oath. And we can even play a Blightsteel next turn if we want one. All right. I guess we could actually go for Blightsteel and then Time Walk, which would be fun too. Like I said, basically when you're at that point, you've drawn your deck, you can do whatever you want. This doesn't stop Oath. So kind of no go there. We don't really want to be tinkering for anything other than Citadel. Miharu is still not playing Vigor. She has multiple Ancient Grudges. It's interesting. I think this is a defense grid matchup. She just has so many counter spells. Excuse me. And probably Flusterstorms. And then we can just take out Hercules, some amount of Dress Down. No, she is playing Saga. How many Saga? 4 Saga? Never mind. We will be keeping in the Dress Downs. What will we be taking out then? I kind of think we can take out an Island and a Mystical. I like the look of this. Looks pretty reasonable. Obviously, it's still super weird to be playing 4 Fluster and 2 Defense Grid, but probably still correct. We could have Needle for Oko and Saga. Certainly an interesting proposition. How do I feel? Maybe we should have one to be able to tutor for if we need to. Okay, let's do that. Looks pretty good setup. Yeah, sounds fine. Obviously, Snapcaster is a little awkward versus Oath, but I think you would keep this hand most times. Though it is definitely a question of how do we want to play this out. It'd be nice if we drew like another Moxen so we could play a Soul Ring without using our blue mana. So maybe we could go blue mana Brainstorm. All right, Urza's Saga. I've never actually played against Miharu Oath with Saga. That's kind of a new thing. So it should be interesting to see how this changes the matchup. We do have 4 Dress Down, so I'm not super worried. That's interesting too, isn't it? Maybe we just want a Demonic Tutor here while they're tapped out. And just get a loaded. Oh god, I'm getting misstepped. Okay. It's fine. I'm just gonna get an Underground Sea and Ponder then. Interesting. Wow, very interesting hand. So if I take Force, I will have a Force, and then I can draw into Mana Crypt, and then I can DT. I'm short on DT for Lotus Citadel, but I could go DT for Tinker. No, still short. I mean, still should probably be Forced Mana Crypt. Though I expect Miharu not to make any plays, right? She has Saga active, and she'll probably play a land and hold up like a Fluster as well. Maybe not. Narset. I don't really want that happening. Okay. Maybe, well, she won't have Cage because she's on Oath. What do I do? Do I Demonic for Lotus and just hope it works out? Do I Snap Ponder? I don't know. I could just Demonic for Ancestral. It probably should just be Ancestral. We have a Snapcaster Mage. That seems reasonable. Obviously, this can get negated, but I think that would be okay. All right, obviously did not. This is good. All right, well, I'm in a nice spot now. I have an answer to Saga tokens if she wants to play Saga tokens. I have Snap Ancestral, Snap Demonic. I have one fetch land away from Hardcast Citadel. I will have this Mana Crypt starting to eat at me, but I also have PO draws. This looks pretty good. Are we going to... Oh, nice, of course. Brainstorm into a fetch. I don't really have an answer to that. I don't have my own misstep. See what happens. Doesn't seem like she'll be activating Saga. It kind of seems like she'll just use it to tutor for something. Like a Lotus, and then maybe play an Oath or hard cast an Archon or something crazy. If they do hard cast an Archon, we can turn off its first trigger. For whatever that's worth. Oh, they are going to activate. Awesome. That's great for us. Oh, should I have... No, Needle can't stop this. Okay, just that. Oh, that's in the main phase. Okay. I'm going to respond to Ruby so they can't Pyroblast this dress down. Obviously, I couldn't respond to a land if that had happened, but... All right, so Saga has been dealt with. It didn't cost us a card. We still have Snap, but they could have Pyroblast. If we find a black source, we have Citadel. I like where we're at. Obviously, our only super concern is drawing blanks and our Crypt killing us. Defense Grid. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good here. You have a Grudge? No. Okay, so now I have 5 mana. I guess Snap Ancestral or Snap Demonic. I think Snap Ancestral should just be fine. Obviously, this opens up Oath, but I think that should be okay at this point. Tinker, dress down. Okay, so I have Citadel. Not right now. My Tinker options are, I don't have Sphinxy, so it's just like a top, which we might do later. I can't play Dress Down on their turn, so I might do it on my end step. I can't hold up Force because I don't have a Force or 3 mana, which I would need both. I mean, I could Tinker away Crypt, but I don't really want to do that yet. Okay, I'm gonna end step Dress Down. I drew the Lotus. Okay. All right, well, I'm F6. I have no way to play things on their turn, so if they want an Oath, they can resolve an Oath, but I'm gonna be Citadeling, so. Unless they hold up in 3 mana and force it. If they hold up in 3 mana, I think I'm gonna bait with Tinker. If I have the mana to do so. I should. I can just do that. Tinker is here. This is here. I can pay a light. I can pay mana. Let's see what they have. She has Veil, Archon. So I successfully stopped an Archon trigger if they had a Lotus, but this is they can't cast any of these, so this game is over. Simply Black Lotus, Golos Citadel. Tinker, top, and then we're good to go. We just need to find Yogwell, and we're off the races here. All right, both got us down. Yeah, Urza Saga didn't really get the job done in that situation. We had some pretty powerful draws as well. I think we drew well above average, so we'll take it. One more to go. All right, here we are, round 6 and final round of the Vintage Challenge. We're actually paired up against Alberto, who is the 5-0. Alberto wants to play out the matches and then we'll likely concede, but we're gonna play out the matches and see what happens. Let's begin. This hand sucks. Alberto usually a bug player. Ooh. Yeah, this is probably the best we got going for us. Just put back one of the dead POs, hold open Force, maybe Vamp for Ancestral. Seems like the best plan. Yeah. So the Google car that did Ghana has a piece of black tape on one of its roof racks. Oh. I see. Yeah, I'm willing to fight over that. I'm just going to get an Ancestral. And I'm going to cast it now. Obviously, I can get negated, but I can't get Pyroblast or Flustered, and I think that's worth it. That resolved, but I didn't draw a Moxen. Let's just... Did I fetch for an Underground Sea? Oh, I had to because of Vampiric. That's fine. Let's get both Underground Seas. Maybe I'm supposed to get a second island. I'm not sure. Not sure. We are pretty far behind in this game. Oh, it's going to be Jeskai, huh? Okay. Noted. This is probably a very tough matchup for us because I am extremely geared in my deck to beating Golos and Bug, and not so much to be beating Jeskai. But Karn is a decent threat against them, so we'll see what happens. This is just going to get Pyroblasted. That's fair. I'm just going to hold this Opal. Well, I don't want to hold this Opal because of Because of Lavinia. They don't have a Lavinia. They would have to top deck a Lavinia. I'm going to hold the Opal so that we can represent Force and Fluster. I probably should, I probably should have tapped both Underground Seas, but they probably don't have Wastelands in their deck because it looks like they're Jeskai. They do have the ability to Mystic Sanctuary, though. We're looking, I was about to say we're looking, I guess this is Yagwil is fine. I don't really have a high chance of this resolving, or the Ancestral. Maybe we shouldn't use the Yagwil. Maybe we should wait. I guess we can just wait. All I get to do is land, crack, fetch, Ancestral. But that's pretty damn good. I don't want the cards that are on the top of my library. I wish I could do more. I mean, they have to have just a pile of counter magic, right? I think it's still correct. Oh, okay, sweet. I'm definitely happy to get fetch land here and just get rid of the cards that are on top of my library. Just resolves? Okay, okay. I have 5 mana. I have a Time Walk and a Vamp and a Karn. I could just Time Walk, but I could also Vamp, Time Walk with Lotus, Ponder. I don't know what the right answer is. All right, well, I'll Time Walk and I'll Vamp. I should just get Tinker, right? They clearly have no counter magic. I guess I could also go Karn Lattice off a Tolarian. I'm just supposed to get Tinker, I think. This lets me Tinker and Slam Karn, so pretty okay with that. Okay. I have no idea what's in my opponent's hand. No clue. I just don't know. Okay, Jeskai is an extremely challenging matchup. You do have winning capabilities, but it is hard. I think what we're going to do is Defense Grids in, Flusterstorms in, Soul Guide Lantern in, Sphinx out, Island out, Hercules out, Mystical out, Opal out. And we'll run like this. I like this. This looks reasonable to me. It'd be nice to get a win against Jeskai naturally in the Swiss. That'd be sweet. That would make me a lot more confident. A lot more confident. It was pretty weird when just every spell I cast in that game basically resolved. Yeah, this is fine. Obviously, it has some problems against Ragavan. Jeskai is actually a deck that gains card advantage via the graveyard a lot. So it's pretty nice to have the ability to stifle that activity. Cards like Dreadhorde Arcanist, Delve Spells, Mystic Sanctuary, a lot of things like that. And if it's not good, you can always cycle your Soul Guide Lantern or pick it up with Pio. So, excuse me. Moxin was a decent draw, though. It opens up a lot of different things here. Yeah, I can't do much about that. Not a huge deal at the moment, though. That is more annoying. They only have 2 cards in their hand, so if I can find some strong points here, I think what I'll do is I'll end of turn Dress Down, so we turn off Lavinia. That way we can draw a Moxin and go Merchant Ancestral with Luster backup. Also, if they counterspell later, it will not make bunks. Wait, what? Oh, I cannot cast Dress Down because of Lavinia. Fuck. Okay, well, never mind. I learned that the hard way. I don't think I would have cast Dress Down in response to Lavinia, so didn't really change much. We still have the ability to go Merchant Scroll with a Fluster backup, so I think it's all okay. I'm just going to Merchant for an Ancestral. I feel like that's the best way to progress in this game. My opponent has very low cards because they used Black Lotus to cast Mentor. It's a Ragavan. Oh, and an Iteration. I actually think I'm going to Fluster this. It's a bit aggressive, but I don't think they have counter magic, and I think there's some pretty high upside to not letting this resolve. Certainly an aggressive play. Certainly an aggressive play. I will certainly feel the sting if they have a Fluster or a Pyro last. Okay, just a Preordain. Sweet. So we know our Ancestral is going to resolve unless they draw Misstep. Still don't know if we can win this game. It will take some doing. Hey, thanks for joining us, Baron. Basically, Tendrils of Agony is a dead draw unless you're killing your opponent. And these PO decks function and can kill their opponent with the cards they already have in their deck and don't need a Tendrils of Agony. So you can Karn Lattice, you can put a Sphinx in play, you can take Infinite Turns with Time Vault Key, you could activate your Bolas' Citadel, Yogg will activate your Bolas' Citadel. Basically, you don't want to play Tendrils because it's just a dead draw, basically. It's not a card you want to draw. That's not a card I want to draw either. See if they drew a Misstep. They didn't draw a Misstep, but all we have drawn are Dress Downs. This looks like a upkeep Dress Down to me. Just try to save some life. God, I don't know. I could Dress Down now, and that way I can draw maybe a Moxin and Dress Down again on their turn. But if I Dress Down on their upkeep, I have Force. Kind of a weird spot, isn't it? All right, so I have Force for this turn, and none of their things are getting bigger. This is a good draw. All right, maybe we can figure out a way to combo kill them on our next turn here. We take 6 and go to 7. Still going to be rough. Yeah, Ponder's fine. We definitely didn't want to draw 4 Dress Downs. 4 is a lot. All right, well, I actually have a very reasonable Force target here. We have a game plan. They're on 0 cards, so we just need to draw a little spice. Not a little spice. Well, let's cast Dress Down. So 2, 4, 5 mana. I can Karn, but I can't really do anything. I don't have like a bridge or anything. I need to draw a PO, so I guess we just have to cast another Dress Down. If we draw a PO here, I'm actually short on artifact mana, so never mind. So I have how much? 5 mana again. Unfortunately, no matter what, that's a lethal attack. I don't have the ability to do this. Can I do anything in here? No. No. Okay, we did just die to an aggro draw out of Jeskai. I think we had some opportunities here if we drew the right cards. Like if this Citadel is a PO, I think we had a good chance of winning in this game. Oh well. All right, game 3. So it's a hard matchup. It's a hard matchup, and they had one of their better draws. Though it wasn't a very permission-heavy draw, but it was a fast clock. Eep. 10 sweep. Question of, will I time walk? I think so. I think there's a lot of upside here. Another question is, do I spin in my upkeep? Probably not, because I don't want to use a blue mana. But we do have a fetch, which is really nice. My opponent's thinking about forcing this? Interesting. All right, obviously we can get clocked by this, but it's a price you're willing to pay. Tinker is obviously our best draw. See if we have anything in here. Tinker? Any tinkers? Pio and Fluster. Yeah. Yeah, Pio and Fluster is fine. Let's draw Pio and then Fluster. We get to draw 3 cards off our Pio. Okay, I will try to remember. Well, you did points prediction for this match. This match is going to end with us winning. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I think I have to Fluster that. It's kind of unfortunate. It's kind of the game plan, so. Okay. Yeah, I will give out the points based on who would have won or lost the game. Okay, so we know we're drawing top again, and there is a PO, but it doesn't look like we'll have a great opportunity to cast it. Because we need the top in play. I could technically Dress Down, but I don't have enough mana. So let's just spin with our floating mana. We have PO and Fluster still. Love to see it. And I'll just pass. It does kind of seem like we might do like an end of turn Dress Down or something similar. If it's a Lavinia, sure. Yeah, let's do the Dress Down. Dress Down's so good. All right, so we'll draw into PO. And then Fluster, and then we'll fetch. They're gonna force this? That would be kind of annoying. Huh. I didn't leave PO above Fluster, did I? Not that that would matter. That's really bad for me. It was a pretty heads-up force from them. I guess we just let it happen and fetch away and look for a better play. Huh. I guess there's no reason not to fetch and do that while it's on the stack, but there's no reason to do it because we can't force back anyways. Ah, yes. Fantastic. The problem with Tinker is Lavinia stops it, but that's okay. We can try to find another dress down. Didn't lose any mana crypt flips either. If they have another force, they probably should still force it. Though we could have Fluster as our last card. Kind of an interesting set of games, honestly. Pretty interesting. Gush in response. We actually might have to play them again as well as the 1st and 8th. Okay, does my Tinker resolve? No. They drew into force. Yeah. Well, we can fetch away. We certainly do not have very much action left in our deck. My deck doesn't deal with Lavinia super well. It does have 4 dress downs, but maybe I misplayed and I should have oh, okay. Alberto is done. All right. So yeah, what happened here, chat, is that Alberto was 5-0, and he was going to concede to me, but he wanted to see more of my deck and how it played. So we battled, and then Alberto didn't want to show any more cards, so Alberto conceded, and we'll be playing in the top 8 after this. Whee! All right, here we go. Round 7 / quarterfinals, top 8 of the Vintage Challenge versus Tomo. Looks like the last time we've seen Tomo, they were playing Bug. We've had a pretty decent showing against Bug today, so let's see if we can keep that up. This hand, unfortunately, is a mox short of being able to play, so we're just going to put it back and try again. This one's got an Ancestral. Yeah, I mean, I'm down for 2 basics and an Ancestral. Seems reasonable. Obviously, we put away one of the uncastable paradoxical outcomes. Yeah, could still be Bug. 1 negation. What? Dark Confidant. Oh, they play 3 Dark Confidants in their Bug list, along with a main deck Null Rod, 1 negation, 3 Flusters, and a Fatal Push. Wow, what an interesting build. Yeah. Yeah, you got a Dark Confidant. I'll I'm just going to Ancestral on my turn. Obviously, it plays into 1 negation, but I think there's a lot of upside here. We didn't end up finding enough upside, but pretty good hand. We can also brainstorm some of this garbage away. Generically, we play dress down for things like Collector Oof, Leovold, Urza Saga tokens. There's a lot of reasonable hits in the vintage metagame right now. So they got a tropical island and a strip mine. Okay, annoying. We might just play a dress down to turn off their Bob for a turn. And try to build up towards a PO. We'll have to see. Vampiric Tutor is kind of interesting. Thanks for the 14 months, Travis. I think I'm gonna just cycle a dress down. It seems so bad. How many Collector Roofs they have? 2? 2 Collector Roofs, 2 Leovolds. We can just vamp for a Tinker later, but then we're so far from PO. Something we could do is like vamp for a Mana Crypt to make our PO more playable. I think I am going to cycle a dress down here and just blank Confidant for a turn. I think the critical turn is in probably 2 turns. This could backfire reasonably hard with like a Collector Roof or a Leovold, but we have another one, so... Actually, one of the bigger ways we could get blown out here is by Force of Vigor in the main. Losing my jet. That would be unfortunate. I shouldn't have said anything. They don't have a Force of Vigor in their last list. Well, that sucks. I regret many things. All right, and they fucking... All right, well, they hit a Collector Roof off of their Bob. So I assume that that will be happening. Okay, well, this is going very poorly. This Bob looks real good here, for sure. Wow. Yep, you got one of those. What are we doing? Oh god, that draw is bad too. So what is the best way forward here? We still have Tinker Sphinx, but this Dark Confidant is drawn so many cards. I can no longer Time Walk and still... Well, I could technically Time Walk and Vamp Upkeep, but it's just not very good. I'm pretty sad if they have Flusterstorm and I cast Brainstorm here. But I don't think I have a choice. I could do it later as well, but it doesn't really get much better with them drawing an extra card every turn. Wow. Okay, let's put back Hercules and Vamp. I'm gonna fetch another basic island. And then I'm gonna probe for life. So I can hold up Fluster Misstep. Narset? Not our Narset, their Narset. That's so bad for me. Our draw has lined up so poorly versus their draw. They didn't even have a Force of Will. If we just had a powerful draw, we should have been fine. But we are probably in a huge amount of trouble. Just a pretty weird sequence here. Yeah, I guess so. Huh. We did resolve an Ancestral this game, so it's hard to complain. The top 8 lists will come out in a couple days on the Wizards website. But you can look at their last list. It wasn't exactly the same because it doesn't have Force of Vigor in it, but their last list is published from their last top 8. How do I get out of this? Land, Time Walk, Mana Crypt, Dress Down, Tinker, maybe? Why are they not F6? Is the last card they drew Force of Will? Or I guess it could be Vigor. It'd make me not want to play this. Well. Yeah, I think we're going for an end step, Dress Down, and Pray. And they hit a Force of Will off of their Bob. Please stop, opponent. I have a family. And they hit a Mental Misstep off of their Narset. Oh my lord. Yeah. Oko resolves. I take $1 million. Put a 2. It's still not over, as I have Tinker outs still. I still have Tinker outs to Sphinx. So this game isn't lost, but it's certainly at the end. Oh, now I'm lost, all right? Or no, I can still life gain. Okay, yeah, I mean, I have outs here. Dress Down into Tinker is probably winning. Yeah, I think just top deck Tinker is pretty much our only out, though. They're going to force the Dress Down. Pitching Force. So they had double Force Mental Misstep. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm at 1. I still can win this. It's still winnable. Still winnable. That's not it. It has to be Tinker. That's not it. Okay. We've been bested. That draw was really hard for us to beat with our hand. Not much to do there. The Bob was very, very good against me. Made my Dress Down looks pretty silly. Made them look fairly silly. Again, I think I'm just going to bring in a Needle and take out a Hercules. We're already basically pre-boarded for this matchup. It's the matchup you expect to play the most or second most in a tournament. So we're pretty much pre set up for that. I mean, we have a Sphinx in the main deck. So we're on our back. That was really pretty brutal. But it was kind of a, I guess it wasn't a super fragile draw from them because they had a Force of Vigor, but they had no Force of Will. And so if I had like a turn 1 Tinker with Force backup, or even like a 3 Mox and Pio with Force backup, I would very easily win that game. Oof is a 2/2. So they had a little bit of risk going on, but obviously their risk was covered pretty well by the Dark Confidant drawing probably mostly the best cards it could draw. So interesting game, very interesting game from my opponent's side, anyways. Yeah, that was brutal. I wonder if my opponent will play an Answer to Sphinx. Their last list had not really an Answer to Sphinx in the 75. There's like some things like Flux, Indeed, but technically no direct answer to Sphinx. They have a very interesting bug list. It's definitely different from the stock list. Oh, this hand is so bad. I can't ever keep this. It's too weak. Too weak. Fatal Push should not be killing a Sphinx. Sphinx cost 8. Yeah, this hand is not keepable. Not keepable. Or Dress Down is verse. They have Collector Roof and Leovold, which completely hamper my Beck's ability to play Magic. This is not a great hand either, but it's an acceptable one. I'm gonna vamp for Ancestral, and then we have Ancestral, Snap Ancestral at some point. They're representing Fluster, so I'm gonna not vamp here. Seems like a pretty big waste to let my vamp be flustered when I don't have a follow-up play anyways. Does that make sense though? If they fluster my vamp, is that really a bad thing for me? It does expose me to Wasteland, so probably. Oh. Well, that changes things, doesn't it? New plan. Tinker Sphinx. Still don't want to fetch until I have to. See what they do. Looks like they're gonna jam Collector Oof. Pretty willing to force this. If they force back, they didn't force back, so they just have to force. I am about to 3-for-1 myself. I guess if they force, it's only 3-for-2. I could just go vamp for Ancestral here. That's probably better. How many negations? 1 negation? Also a misstep. I think casting Tinker here would be a mistake. So I'm just gonna get an Ancestral. And I will cast it on my turn. The upside is too high to not do it. Resolves. And we drew such bad magic cards. Fuck. If I knew it was gonna resolve, I would have gone for Tinker, obviously. Okay. Well, we have a Tinker next turn, maybe. Yeah. This is dangerous territory. Not a wasteland, so that's the first thing that went well for us. If it's an Oko, it's annoying. If it's a Leovold, it's acceptable. It's a Narset? Well, if this doesn't find Force, and they didn't have Force before, and they don't have Vigor, there's a lot of ifs here. Does turn off Snap Ancestral. They got a negation. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, well, Tinker off the table here, unless we draw Force. Which we know we're not going to draw Force. So, our own Narset. We really want this to resolve so that we don't get, have to draw PO. I guess we could snap Vamp in our, oh my god. They had a Force of Will, okay. So they just chose to let Ancestral resolve. Or they didn't have a second blue card, which seems unlikely. Or maybe they didn't have a second blue card because they just pitched a Force to an Force negation. Okay. All right. Well, they have another draw step and a play and an Narset activation. I kind of feel like my opponent has drawn all of the cards that are good in the matchup and none of the cards that are bad in the matchup. No Deathrite Shaman, no Tarmogoyf. No, we're just dead, unfortunately. I don't think we're beating Wasteland here. You don't want to Wasteland right now. You want to wait until you go to your next turn so you know what you're going to draw. Oh, Ancestral off the top. Okay, well, I mean, my opponent is going to win this tournament. Without a doubt, I had no chance. Holy shit. Like, not supposed to Wasteland at that time window. Yeah, it's pretty bad for the home team here. Oh, they didn't play a second Collector Roof, so that's good, I guess. I know I'm drawing PO, so that's a dead draw, and guess we just have to draw a mana producing thing and cast Tinker and hope it resolves. Yeah, I mean, it's just not a winnable matchup, or it's a winnable matchup. It's just not a winnable set of cards to beat. What? Okay. You got a Trigon Predator. Yeah. Okay. I'm really sad the Sphinx is in my hand here, but all right. Well, this is my opportunity. I must draw mana. You draw mana. I unfortunately drew it as a land, but we're jamming. We're jamming. I have very low probability of this ever resolving, and even if it does resolve, I have a lot of bricks, and then I'm going to get killed by a Trigon Predator. But I don't really have a choice. I have to do my thing and hope it works. They had another force. Okay. Well. I don't think I have any outs. I don't think I have any outs. I think we're dead. Yeah, probably scooping it up. Well, my opponent murdered the shit out of me. Lotus Snap Tinker doesn't work because they ate the Tinker with the Deathrite Shaman, and they don't have an artifact to sack, and they have another... No, I refuse. I am done. I am done. Yeah, that was a pretty rough way to end it, but my opponent had a very interesting bug list, very abnormal, and some of those interesting decisions came into play against us. Turn 1 Dark Confidant was an absolute beating. Main deck Vigor obviously destroyed us. And overall, they just had much better hands and maybe a better bug configuration than other players. Who knows? We'll have to see. That is their second top 8 with a abnormal looking bug configuration, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. In terms of my deck today, we had a pretty good showing. Dress Down was fantastic, as it has been pretty much every time I've seen it cast. And PO was pretty bad. Tinker was fantastic. Citadel and Sphinx were both broken, but PO won us a game or two, and then was a dead card in our hand a lot. I definitely have some misgivings about playing PO in general. It just seems like such a liability. But overall, a good showing, a fun showing. I'm glad we were able to stream today. We had to run off the train to even get to the stream. So pretty happy to be able to stream at all. Thank you for anyone who gave me a raid. Doomwake, Icaros, Kiros. Yeah. I'm going to stream more PO at some point. I think PO is a very likely deck choice for me for the Eternal Weekend, whenever the Eternal Weekend happens. So probably looking forward to more action. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for staying all the way to the end. I appreciate your support. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to boost the algorithm. And I'll see you in the next video.